Welcome back. All right, so 10 games tonight in the NHL. Some of these results are a bit of a surprise, but hey, the surprises are what make it worth watching the games. If everything's predictable, it's kind of boring. We've gone through seasons where we've seen a lot of predictable results, and it gets kind of boring. Even in the playoffs, you can have, well, this is great and all, but it's too bad a Cinderella run wasn't going on. So, at any rate, maybe this is the year we see another Cinderella run, right? So, we're going to start things off looking at the Washington Capitals at home against the Anaheim Ducks. It's Gibson versus Lindgren. The Caps go to the power play. Ovechkin has a chance to save. That power play's killed off. Shots are 4-2 in Washington's favor 6 minutes in. The Caps get a second power play and they score on it. Oshie tips one in from Gustafson and Backstrom at 11:41. Aube-Kubel then had a rush chance that was saved. Wilson has one that's held. With 1:05 left, the Ducks go to the power play. So they get some zone time, but they overpassed. So they ran out the clock by overpassing, and that rolls over into the second period where the Caps finished the kill. Ovechkin couldn't bury one in close. They did a review to confirm it was no goal. The shots are 2-0 Caps at 3.5 minutes, but at 7:09, the Ducks get on the board. It's Lindstrom from Fowler. Oshie then has a net drive that's defended. However, at 9:07, Jensen ends up scoring anyways to put them up 2-1. Dowd and Favari with the assists. So, it's a close game, but Washington's ahead. However, 44 seconds later, Terry jams in a loose puck. It was just chaos around the net. Terry gets the puck and he puts it in, and the review confirms that it's a goal. Confirms no missed stoppage and all that other fun stuff. Terry then has a shot that's blocked. The Ducks press. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Carrick versus McElrath. That ends up with a Ducks power play. Caps don't let them set up, and they kill that off. Trevor Van Riemsdyk's denied as the Caps press. Zegras then has a chance that's held. Johansson's denied on a net drive, and with 11.1 seconds left, the Caps go to the power play. So that rolls over into the third, and the Ducks finish the kill. And then shortly thereafter at 2:15, Silverberg from Comtois and Colton White. Yep, all of a sudden the Ducks are ahead. The interesting thing is 9 minutes into the period, the shots are 8-1 for the Capitals, but they're behind. Then that goal was in the third period. It was the one shot that the Ducks had thus far. Terry to White fires that one wide. Kuznetsov to Ovi, that's picked off. Jensen's denied. The Ducks clear it out. The Caps are pushing to tie it. It's really all Capitals at this point. We get a power play for the Ducks. That's killed off. Goalie pull with 2 minutes left. That leads to an empty net goal by Grant at 18:29. They would pull the goaltender again, but Anaheim pulls off the upset. They win 4-2. They go to 18, 34, and 7. And the Caps, who of course traded Orlov and Hathaway today, I think this is just a soft sell is what I'm feeling with the Caps. They're just going to sell off their guys who are on UFA, like going to be on the UFA market this summer, and probably try to retool and come back with something more competitive next year. So they lose this one 4-2. They go to 28, 26, and 6. The shots in this one, 12-6 Washington in the first, 15-10 Washington in the second, 16-5 Washington in the third. They outshoot Anaheim 43-21. Power plays, Anaheim 0 for 3, Washington 1 for 3. The hits 21-6 for Washington. Gibson, fantastic, 41 saves on 43 shots. Lindgren, 17 saves on 20 shots. So, yeah, there you go. Next up, Buffalo. And I would be wearing Buffalo, but I get the feeling I'll have a chance to wear Buffalo a lot for recaps. I'm not sure if it's the last time for the Canucks, and I do want to talk about that Canucks game when we get there. But first we're going to talk about Buffalo and Tampa, and then like half a dozen other games before we get to that one. So it's Comrie versus Vasilevsky. At 2:19, Stamkos scores from point and Kucherov. Hagel nearly adds another. Peterka couldn't bury one on a rush. 4.5 minutes in, the shots are 4-0 for Tampa Bay. But then on their first shot, they score. The Buffalo Sabres score. It's Girgensons who tips one. And I was going through Vasi. Dahlin and Jost with the assists at 11:41. 6 minutes left. The shots are 6-1 Tampa. So still, that's the only shot Buffalo had. They would end up getting a second shot before the period was out. The Bolts would press with 3.5 minutes left, but it's 1-1 after one. And Buffalo had to feel pretty fortunate this was tied. Second period. Power play for the Sabres. Olofsson has a shot that's saved. That's killed off. The shots are 3-1 for the Sabres at 5 minutes. The Bolts get a power play. Stamkos has a blast that's held. That's killed off. The Sabres, then they get a turn on the power play and they score on it. It's Tage Thompson. Look out, Thompson's heating up. Skinner and Darlene with the assists at 9:35, and that was a 3-on-1, and he buries it. So no chance for the goalie on that one. Bolts pressed with 8.5 minutes left, but at 12:20, it's Thompson from Skinner. It is suddenly a 3-1 lead in favor of Buffalo. But at 12:36, Hedman would answer. So crisis averted. Not so fast. At 13:25, Buffalo answers that. It's Quinn from Krebs and Middlestad. So suddenly we're looking at a 4-2 lead for Buffalo in a game where they've been outplayed mostly, but they did have a pretty good second period. Hagel to point, that's picked off. Okposo then has a shot that's held. We're going to the third. Early press by the Bolts. Cole blasts one wide. Jost has a slot shot, that's held. Shots are 3-2 for Tampa Bay at 4 minutes. Yoki Haru has a shot blocked as they press. And then Braden Point scores from Hedman and Hagel at 5:48. What's interesting is Point then tries for another on the very next play. He's denied. The puck goes the other way, and Thompson gets the hat trick goal at 6:18. Tage Thompson, gets that one back. Bolts pressed to respond, and they would. Cirelli would score one from in close. Chernak and Point with the assists at 8:33. Tampa Bay would get a power play. They would score on this one as well. It's Colton from Stamkos and Point at 14:54. Paul in the last minute has a net feed that's cleared out. 8 seconds left. The Bolts get a power play. So that rolls over into the overtime where it becomes a 4-on-3, right? There's a post for Stamkos. He was then denied on his next opportunity. That's cleared out. And then on a shorthanded breakaway, Ilya Lyubushkin at 1:41. And it dumbfounded the announcers, and it dumbfounded me that it was Lyubushkin on a breakaway and shorthanded to boot, and he buries it. Buffalo wins 6-5. They go to 29, 23, and 4 with what could be a huge victory for Tampa Bay, 36, 17, and 4. So they just get the single point tonight. So Toronto fans will be happy with that. Shots in this one: 9-2 Tampa in the first, 13-10 Buffalo in the second, 18-7 Tampa Bay in the third, and they outshot them 4-1 in the overtime. But the Buffalo shot's the one that matters. Final shots: 41-23 in favor of Tampa Bay, almost the same difference as Washington Anaheim. And a similar result, not the same, obviously. Power plays: 1 for 2 for Buffalo, 1 for 3 for Tampa. Hits were 42 apiece, which means Buffalo started hitting tonight. I'm impressed with 42 hits from them. Comrie, 36 saves on 41 shots. Vasilevsky, 17 saves on 23 shots. Rough night statistically for Vasi. A lot of those goals were, it means Buffalo, right? They can score at will. This is one of those crazy games. It's one of the reasons why I tell people Buffalo games are entertaining, and they get a huge win tonight. Arguably the biggest win Buffalo has had since, 2011? I would go that far back. Usually by this time of year, they're completely irrelevant in terms of the standings. All right, next up, Edmonton, the Oilers in Pittsburgh. So I wore Pittsburgh for the preview. Nope. Nope. So Skinner versus Jari, early jump for the Oilers, but at 1:05 on their first shot, and it's on a turnover, Letang buries it. It's his 150th goal in his career. Rust and Malkin with the assists. So rough start for the Oilers there. The shots are 3-2 for the Oilers at 6.5 minutes. They would get a power play. The Penguins do not let them set it up. They kill it off. Oilers press with 8.5 minutes left. They get a second power play. Barry fires one wide. They cycle, and then it's McDavid with his 45th of the season on the power play from Barry and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at 13:18. They go back to the power play, and on this one, it's Draisaitl with his 35th of the season from Barry and McDavid at 17:49. McDavid's going to score another 200 points, I think, before the season's out. Get to 1,000, easy enough. Draisaitl buries a rebound on that one with 24.6 seconds left. There's a power play for the Penguins, so that rolls over into the second period. The Oilers finish the kill, and then they would press at the 2-minute mark. McDavid has a chance that's held. The shots are 5-0 Oilers at 3 minutes, so they've really started to take over here. Zucker has a rush chance that's defended, and then Yamamoto taps one in. The assist to Hyman and Nurse at 6:06, and they enjoyed that so much, they score again. It's Shore from Puljujarvi at 7:50. This is where the Penguins call a timeout. They're down by 3. I'm not going to argue that was the wrong call to call that timeout. They could have gone for it at the 3-goal mark, but I don't know that anything was stopping the Oilers tonight. Power play for the Penguins, that's killed off. Petrie has a blast that's held after that. Penguins press with 9 minutes left, but Oilers aren't done. First, it's Fogle, who's been hot lately, from Draisaitl and Kulak at 15:10, and then Nugent-Hopkins scores for McDavid at 18:54. RNH continues to have the best season of his career, and it's a lot to 1 in favor of the Edmonton Oilers after 2. So it's a mercy pull for Jarry, who I was surprised didn't get pulled when they called the timeout down 4-1. I thought DeSmith would go in there. But DeSmith's in the third. Early chances for the Oilers. McDavid has a wraparound that saved. Penguins get a power play. They do score, but it's deemed to be offside. Oilers finish the kill. The shots are 10-6 for the Oilers with 7 minutes left. A penalty shot would be awarded to McDavid, and of course he scored on it. That's his 46th of the season. That's at 16:27. Penguins then get a power play. They do score on it. It's Letang with his 151st goal of the season, of his career, from Crosby and Malkin at 18:12. So that makes it 7-2. It does not mean there's no mercy magnet, because that's still a 5-goal difference. The Oilers win this one 7-2. They go to 32-19-8 with the win. Pittsburgh 27-21-9 with the loss. All of a sudden, the Oilers moving up in the standings in the Pacific Division. Shots in this one favor Edmonton the whole way. 14-3 in the first, 15-9 in the second, 15-12 in the third. They outshoot Pittsburgh 44-24 in Pittsburgh. Power plays, Edmonton 2 for 3, Pittsburgh 1 for 4. The hits 36-18 for Pittsburgh. Skinner 22 saves on 24 shots. Jarry saves 23 out of 29, and DeSmith saves 14 out of 15. I don't think there's any reason to panic if you're Pittsburgh right now, but you're below the playoff line, and other teams are starting to pass you now. So it's not panic time yet, but maybe in the region of said panic. Maybe I need to do a panic index on that. At any rate, next up, the LA Kings in against the New Jersey Devils. This was some game. Good back and forth in this. So Copley versus Vanacek. The shots are 3-0 for the Devils at 6 minutes. And then on their second shot, the Kings get the lead. It's Kopitar from Jersey and Kempe at 7:24. The Devils press. They're kept to the outside. And then Arvidsson makes it 2-0 LA from Fiala and Anderson at 11:35. He buries that one on 2-on-1 rush opportunity. Kings press with 5 minutes left. Severson has a blast that's saved. 17 seconds left. The Devils go to the power play. That rolls over into the second period. Kings don't allow a setup. They clear it out. A second clear follows as well. Severson has a blast that's saved. The Kings do finish out that kill. Shots are 2-1 for the Devils at 5.5 minutes. Copley minus a stick. A little bit of a press by the Devils, but LA clears it out. Kings press at 9 minutes. There was a post for Walker. The Devils cleared out. Then we get a power play for the Kings. The Devils kill that off. Devils get a power play. It cycles. The Kings clear it out. That's killed off as well. And then Tatar puts New Jersey on the board from Mercer at 16:44. Great pass by Mercer, and Tatar wires the top corner. And a good forecheck on the play as well by Mercer. And that gets the crowd going. The crowd had been pretty quiet, so after 2 periods, it's 2-1, but you can feel a little bit of momentum for the New Jersey Devils. Third period, good early back and forth. Fiala has a rush chance that's saved, and then at 2:23, a one-timer from in close, so no chance for the goaltender, Mercer. Yep, he gets that one from Tatar and Ball. So Tatar and Mercer now each with a goal and an assist in this game. Hughes tries for the lead. The Devils press at 3.5 minutes. The shots are 8 apiece, though, at 8 minutes. Things get punchy with 10:57 left. We get a power play for the Devils. Hamilton fires one wide. That's killed off. The shots are 7-5 for the Devils with 5 minutes left. Jersey, though, would score for the Kings at 15:41 from Kopitar and Fiala. So suddenly we're looking at a Kings 3-2 lead in this one. 3:12 left. The Devils get a power play. They'd pull the goaltender with 1:20 left. The power play gets killed off, but then Heischer would score the tying goal from Hughes and Hamilton in 1921. Lot of big key goals for Heischer this year. Feels like if you need a late goal, if you need a winning goal, Heischer's the guy for you. So we're going to overtime. Devils controlled early. Hughes couldn't bury one on a rush. There was a near miss for Heischer. And then on what was already their 5th shot of the overtime, New Jersey scores. It's Mercer from Hamilton and Trocheck. Hamilton and... All right, so that overtime goal broke my brain. It's from Hamilton and Vanacek. So I just see check. I'm like, oh, Trocheck. No, Vanacek. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So the New Jersey Devils survive a scare. They win this one 4-3. They go 38-15-5 on the season. For the Kings, they do get a point. They're 32-19-8. Every point you can get matters in the West, right? Shots in this one, 9-7 LA in the first, 12-6 New Jersey in the second, 8-7 New Jersey in the third, and then 5-0 in the overtime, including the winner. Shots 32-22 for New Jersey. Power plays, LA 0 for 1, New Jersey 0 for 4. Hits 21-16 for New Jersey. Copley 28 saves on 32 shots. Vanacek, not Trocheck, 19 saves on 22 shots. I wrote it Vanacek here. Just here I had Trocheck. Just imagine if tomorrow the Rangers traded Trocheck to the Devils and said, yeah, we think we're going to sell. Anyways, to the Devils? All right, pox upon your house. All right, next up, last on this board is Minnesota and Columbus. So Minnesota's gone back to playing Minnesota hockey. Now, Minnesota hockey traditionally has been one that just tries to limit the opportunities for the opposition, and when you've got a lead, you don't do anything stupid. So there's not the big daring opportunities for the Minnesota Wild when they have the lead. And it feels like Evanson's done this because the season was getting away from them. So are they the most entertaining team to watch right now? No. However, the results speak for themselves, don't they? So it's Fleury versus Korpisalo in this one. Kaprizov's denied on a one-timer. There were turnovers by both teams early, but at 3:01, it's Duhaime. Buries a rebound on a rush from Gaudreau. Kaprizov then has a net drive that's held. Lane Peterson was denied in close. I thought he played well enough for Columbus. Good in the face-off circle as well. And then Kaprizov at 8:48 puts one 5-hole on a 2-on-1 rush. Middleton and Hartman with the assist. So it's 2-0 Minnesota. 8 minutes and 48 seconds into the game. Wild press at the half. The shots are 8-7 for Columbus with 7.5 minutes left. Roslovic has a net feed. That's picked off. Gaudreau has a shot that's saved as the Jackets are pushing, trying to get on the board. So power play for the Wild. That's killed off. It's 2-0 after one. Second period. Jackets had the lone shot on net 3.5 minutes in. So that's the kind of game we're looking at with this one. Not one that leads itself to a lot of notes, a lot of big moments. There weren't very many power plays either. There was one for each team. The Wild weren't generating very much, but I don't know that they were trying to. So the Blue Jackets get a power play. That's killed off. The shots are 7 apiece with 7 minutes left. The Wild have some momentum at that stage in the game. Columbus presses with 2 minutes left, and they would press to close it, but it's still 2-0 after 2. Third period. Wild had the lone shot on net at 2.5 minutes. So again, I'm scrolling through all these games, and there's stuff happening, and then I get to this one, and I'm like, all right, so how many shots have we got? Cool. Hartman to Zuccarello, that's picked off. Boquist couldn't bury one in close. Fleury had a good game. I do think that a lot of these shots they made sure he could see them, and not a lot of second opportunities for Columbus here tonight. Columbus presses, the Wild clear. Gaudreau has a net freed, that's cleared out. No Columbus shots on net 8 minutes into the period. Goodbranson fires one wide. The Wild clear. Columbus would press with 4.5 minutes left. They pull the goaltender with 2 minutes left. Generate some shots, sure, but in the end, they lose 2-0. The Minnesota Wild, 32-21-5. There's the Tony the Tiger Magnet, because they're great. And, Marc-Andre Fleury was great. Columbus, 18-35-5 with the loss. This might be the one that takes them out of the playoff race. Kidding. Shots on this one, 14-8 for Columbus in the first, 12-9 Minnesota in the second, 7-5 Columbus in the third. Final shots, 30-25 for Columbus. Both teams go 0 for 1 on the power play. Hits 19-11 Minnesota. Fleury saves all 30 shots for his 73rd career shutout. He continues to work on that Hall of Fame resume. Korpisalo saved 23-25. He was good. No goal support whatsoever for Korpisalo. That being said, I need to change boards. All right, next up, we've got the New York Rangers and the Detroit Red Wings. Big night for Detroit, isn't it? So Halak versus Husso. There's a delay game call. The Rangers have a power play. Good cycle. Husso saves. That's killed off. 2 shots allowed. Shots are 4-3 for the Rangers at 5.5 minutes. Zadina then has a rush chance that's held. And then Andrew Kopp at 15:33 puts Detroit on the board. He scores from Rasmussen and Perron. Rasmussen's really developed. Wings then look for another. It's 1-0 after the first. Second period. No shots on net 4 minutes in. So it felt like Minnesota Columbus all over again. Wings press at 5.5 minutes. Kopp then has a chance that's blocked. And then Trocheck. It's a turnover rush. He buries it at 6:06. But the Wings get it back. And it's Zadina scoring from Larkin at 8:18. Stretch pass to Tarasenko is then picked off. Wings get a power play. That's killed off. They would press afterwards. The Rangers then press with 6 minutes left, but at 18:02, it's Rasmussen. Right after Perron was denied, Rasmussen buries it. Perron and Kopp with the assist at 18:02. Then there's a delay for broken glass. The question was asked of, well, why don't they just play? There's only a minute and a half left. You can't keep playing with a hole in the glass where there's a little girl sitting right there, because just I know the odds of a puck hitting that hole in the glass, that it's low, but it's not nothing. And that's the last thing the National Hockey League needs. So they do get it fixed. Then there's a late rush for Mika that was defended. We're going into the third period with Detroit up 3-1. Shots are 3-2 for the Rangers at 3 minutes. Zibanejad's denied and close. Hronek has a rush chance that's saved. Detroit goes to the power play, and they score on it. It's Hronek from Kopp and Kubalik at 4:51. Wings would go back to the power play. That's killed off, but it takes 2 minutes off the clock. Rangers press with 9.5 minutes left. Things get punchy with 8:15 left. The Wings get another power play. That's killed off. And they hold on to win this one 4-1. They go to 28, 21, and 8. They tie the Florida Panthers for that final playoff spot, and they technically are above that playoff line right now because they have games in hand on Florida. For the Rangers, 33, 16, and 9. Disappointing loss for them. They did outshoot Detroit 10-7 in the first, 13-8 in the second. Both teams had 8 shots in the third. Final shots 31-23 for the Rangers. Power plays, the Rangers 0 for 2, Detroit 1 for 4. The hits 22-12 for Detroit. Halak, 19 saves on 23 shots. Husso, 30 saves on 31 shots. Ville Husso continues to prove he's a really solid goaltender in the National Hockey League. He was a great pickup for Detroit. So, I mean, Nedeljkovic, it didn't really work out, but Husso's been fantastic. So, honestly, really impressive win for Detroit. And right now, above the playoff line with games in hand on other teams. All right, next up. And this is why when people say, oh, strength of schedule. Yeah, Rangers really strong team. They beat them. Vancouver in against St. Louis. So it's Seelovs versus Binnington. Ratu was playing as well. Clock issue causes a bit of a delay at the start. There's an early press by the Canucks. Pettersson's denied on a fast break. The shots are 4-1 for Vancouver at 3 minutes. We get a power play for the Canucks. That's killed off. No shots on the power play. Blues then get a power play of their own. That's killed off as well. Canucks get a second power play. They score, but there's a goalie interference challenge. And, yep, no goal, but the Canucks do end up with the power play. Kuzmenko can't bury during the power play. The puck ends up going the other way. And, of course, they score. It's Toropchenko with the shorthanded marker from Buchnevich at 15:29. That's on a rush. And is the 10th shorthanded goal against Vancouver. Leads the league. They're number 1. They're the best at it. Blues finish the kill. And it's 1-0 St. Louis after 1, even though they were outplayed by a wide margin in the first period. Second period, Beauvillier is a tip that's saved. Shots are 2-0 Canucks at 3 minutes. Blues score. There's a stoppage challenge, but it's a good goal. So Tucker scores that one. It's his first NHL goal from Bortuzzo and Barbashev at 6:45. So the Blues come out of that with a power play because delay a game, right? That's killed off, and then Garland comes out of the box. He's denied. Saad has a rush chance that's blocked. 2:49 left. The Canucks get another power play. That's killed off as well. In between the second and third, they had a nice video on the guys who call down from upstairs with the video challenges. Which means that they told him, yeah, go ahead and challenge because it should have been a stoppage. But no, it's a high stick that they wanted the stoppage for. Anyways, we're going to the third with the Blues up 2-0. Early jump for Vancouver. Miller has a net drive that's saved. Kyrou has a net feed that's picked off. Podkolzin and Tucker are kind of unfriendly, so Dries and Walker throw down their gloves and punch each other. This is Dries' second fight since Tocchet took over. Canucks draw a power play. Miller fires one or misses wide. They cycle. Pettersson has a shot that's blocked. That's killed off. Falk then has a shot that's held. There's a power play for the Blues. That leads to a shorthanded goal. It's Miller. It's his 20th goal of the season. He was the one that scored the goal that got taken away as well for Vancouver earlier in the game. Pettersson with the assist at 9:08. It's a 2-on-1 rush, and Miller buries it. Canucks finish the kill. There's a press by the Canucks with 6 minutes left. Pettersson has a tipped shot that's held. Besser has a shot that deflects wide with 1:28 left. The goalie gets pulled, and the Blues call a timeout. Canucks call a timeout. 59.5 seconds left. The Blues guilty of an icing. And then at 19:31, the Canucks tie it. It's Kuzmenko burying a rebound from Pettersson and Miller, and it's 2-2 going into overtime. In the overtime, Blues rush. Kyrou has a shot that's blocked. The Canucks set up. Kuzmenko fires one high. Thomas is then denied on a net drive. Big turnover by Bear, and Seelovs bails him out because that turnover would have been ugly. However, Bear, when they get the puck back, gets it to Beauvillier, who gets it to Pettersson, and on a rush, the game is ended on a 3-2 goal at 4:45, so 15 seconds from a shootout. Vancouver wins in extra time. They do it again. They go to 23-30-5 with the win. With the overtime loss, St. Louis 26-28-3. Now, I'm Team Tank, right? I'm perfectly fine with whatever Vancouver loses. This game tonight, they outplayed the opposition. It was a pretty intense game. There was a lot of dislike on both sides of the ice by the end of it. So I really wanted to see Vancouver win this because I thought they earned it, and I thought Pettersson had a really strong game. So he ends with a goal and 2 assists. And JT Miller, for all of the negativity around him, he has a goal and an assist tonight. And I honestly think since the Horvat trade, since Tocchet took over, I think Miller's play has been better. That's me personally. There we go. So the Canucks win this one. The shots, they dominated the shot clock. 14-6 in the first, 11-7 in the second, 14-5 in the third. In the overtime, St. Louis actually outshoots them 4-2. Final shots, 41-22 for Vancouver. Power plays, Vancouver 0 for 4, St. Louis 0 for 3. Hits 27-10 St. Louis. Seelobs 20 saves on 22 shots. There's a second NHL win. Another reason I was glad to see the win. It's nice to see Seelobs with the victory. And Binnington 38 saves on 41 shots. He was fantastic. Just in the end, he just didn't get enough help. And but despite all of his great saves early on, it still doesn't work out in their favor. Next up, Calgary and Vegas. This felt like a really important game for Calgary. And we'll see how things go from here, right? So it's Vladar versus Brossoit. Good early back and forth. The shots are 2 apiece at 4 minutes. It's right around here where Flames start to take over. So Smith has a rush chance that deflects over the net. The Flames get a power play. It's killed off, but at the end of this power play, the shots are now up to 10-2 in favor of the Flames. Flames go back to the power play and they score on it. It's Pelche from Backlund and Hanifin at 13:25. The Flames then get another power play. That's killed off. There was a near miss by Mangiapane right after. Eichel's then denied in the final minute. It's 1-0 Calgary after 1. Second period. Flames with early chances, and they would score. At 1:24, it's Huberdeau from Pelche and Kadri. So Pelche with a goal and an assist. Vegas gets a power play. That's killed off. The Flames then rush. They only allowed 1 shot during that power play. Cotter's denied on a rush opportunity of his own. Flames are out shooting. Vegas 4-3, 5.5 minutes in. Vegas presses at the half. Solid back checking by the Flames. Vegas goes back to the power play. They score on this one. It's Eichel. Scores from Theodore and Amadio at 14:27. It was a good cycle by Vegas, and Eichel wires it. There's a press by Vegas with 4 minutes left, but at 16:34, Backlund restores the 2-goal lead for the Calgary Flames from Coleman. Eichel's then denied on a rush. It's 3-1 Calgary after 2. So, you're ahead in Vegas in the third period. What you have to do is you have to attack. You have to pin them down and you have to try to add to your lead. You cannot sit back. Third period. No shots on net at all 3 minutes in. The Flames are sitting back. And it was okay to this point. The Flames get center ice, they dump it in, get it in deep, and get frequent line changes. Fine, you don't get tired out, but you're handing the puck to Vegas. You're giving Vegas the opportunities. And at 5:09, White Cloud scores from Smith. It was posted in, and I wrote underneath, too much sitting back. This is, you're giving them the zone. You're letting them have that zone entry. It's going to bite you. Pelche steals one, and then before he can get to the net, Theodore steals it back from him. So nice play there by Theodore. Zadorov has a shot deflect wide. Theodore then blocks a Mangiapane chance. Marchessault has a shot that's held. There's a press by Vegas with 8 minutes left. And at 12:35, Carrier buries a rebound. The assist to Martinez and Stevenson. All of a sudden, it's a tie game. Howden, I should say, nearly adds another with 4:51 left. The Flames get a power play. That's killed off. No shots generated. We're going to overtime. In the overtime, Backlund has a chance to save. The puck goes the other way, and Pietrangelo puts it in. He scores from Marchessault and Eichel at 42 seconds. Vegas completes the comeback. They win this one 4-3. They go to 35-18-5 on the season with a very disappointing loss. 27-20 and 12 is the record now for the Calgary Flames. Yeah, 27, 20, and 12. So I've got an 11 up there. That should be a 12. They needed the win tonight. And it feels like this is a big win for Vegas, and it's a big loss for Calgary. So shots in this one, 18-8 Calgary in the first, 11-8 Vegas in the second, 9-1 Vegas in the third. Way too much sitting back by Calgary. In the overtime, 1 shot each. Final shots, 29-28 Vegas. Power plays, Calgary 1 for 4, Vegas 1 for 2. The hits 50-40 in favor of Calgary. Lots of hitting in this one. Vladar saves 25 out of 29. Yes, we will have the conversation about Calgary's goaltending, but in general, the team's effort in the third period wasn't enough. Brossoit saves 25 out of 28. and gets himself another victory. So Vegas, first in the division, they now have 75 points. Life's pretty good. All right, next up, Boston. So this is the craziest game of the night. I mean, the Oilers scored the most goals of any team tonight. That was kind of bonkers too, but this one's absolutely ridiculous. Now, Boston fans are spoiled. Why would I say that? Because Swayman's a very good goaltender, but any time that he allows a goal that Boston fans decide is soft, he suddenly belongs in the ECHL. It is the weirdest thing. He's a backup goaltender. He's a backup. He's not the starter. If your backup goaltender gives you 5 quality starts out of every 6 starts, you've got a very good backup goaltender. And he ended up having a decent game. So, Krejci has a net feed that's sent wide, and then at 39 seconds on a fast break, Beniers scores from McCann done. That's the first shot. But what stood out to me was, Boston's going to be sloppy in this one. That was what was in the back of my mind. Wenberg has a shot that's caught and held. The Kraken had the momentum. They were also getting a lot of turnovers. Hall has a shot that's blocked. The Kraken rush. Taylor Hall was driving me nuts tonight because it felt like every time he was out there, he's like, well, there's 4 Kraken back. I can get through them myself, guys. Watch. He can't. Bjorkstrand couldn't bury one in close. The shots are 5-3 Kraken at 8.5 minutes. The Bruins press at 9.5 minutes. They would tie it. Krejci, result of a good press. Zacha and Pasternak at 11:18 tie the game. DeBrusk then denied. Marchand guilty of goalie interference on that one. Marchand started taking dumb penalties again. That's killed off. 2 shots allowed. The Bruins press with 3 minutes left. Pasternak has a blast that's held with 5.5 seconds left. So it's 1-1 after 1. Second period. Early jump for Boston, but it's a turnover. It's in the net. Done from Wenberg at 1:17. So it's another early goal for Seattle as a result of a turnover by Boston. Marchand has a chance that's held, and then on a rush, Pasternak says, fine, I'll put you guys on my back, and he bails them out. Krejci and Lindholm with the assists at 2:22. So it's a tie game again. Zacha with a net feed, that's picked off. The shots are 4-3 Kraken at 5.5 minutes, and the Kraken dangerous in transition, which is noteworthy because the Boston Bruins keep turning it over. But Boston would get a lead. It's Marchand from Bergeron and McAvoy at 8:49. But before they can really celebrate that goal and say, hey, we finally got a lead, it's less than a minute later at 9:47 on a turnover. Alexiak scores from Geekie and Froden. So Froden, with his first point as a member of the Kraken, played for Boston last year. Kraken press with 7 minutes left. Donato has a wraparound that save. 2:47 left. Seattle gets a power play. That leads to a shorthanded marker. Bergeron from Marchand on a 2-on-1 at 17:50. I've lost count of how many times I've seen them score combined like that on the shorthanded play. But during that power play, Seattle would get the goal. It's scored from Beniers and Eberle at 18:52. So this game just keeps going back and forth. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4, and then at the horn, McAvoy takes a penalty, so it's going to be a 4-on-3 to start the third period. Everything's killed off. 2 shots allowed by Boston to Seattle on that power play. Gord can't bury one. The Kraken press. Bergeron's denies the Bruins press. Bruins way too loose defensively. I can't stress enough how loose they were defensively and how many turnovers they were committing. Now, on the other hand, too, Seattle swarming Boston. Whoever had the puck, they'd swarm the guy. It was something to watch. Power play for Seattle. It then becomes a 48-second 4-on-4 because of some really strong shorthanded play by Coyle. Everything's killed off. Things get punchy with 7:54 left. Bruins are, again, coughing it up too much. Things get brawly with 5:38 left because Marchand's in the middle of it. Well, he goes to the box, so it's 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Schwartz would then give Seattle a lead. He scores from Borgen and Alexiak at 15:49. Tipped in front on a turnover, and it's a 4-on-4 goal. So that's one of those things. Boston doesn't usually allow 4-on-4 goals, so they get that back. At 16:19, it's Carlo. He tips one in front. What's Carlo doing up there? Scores from Lindholm and Coyle. And so Boston has tied the game at 5. This is where I got the small board out. I haven't had to use a small board in a recap video in a long time. People may not know about the small board, but if I run out of space here and I don't have anywhere to put the writing, I will get the small board out. And so I got the small board because I didn't know if we're going to go to overtime and if I'd have enough room. Well, at 18:22, DeBrusk helped me out. He scores to make it 6-5 from McAvoy and Marchand. So Seattle pulls the goaltender. They ice the puck. The Bruins ice the puck with 56.7 seconds left. I believe Seattle took a timeout as well. But in the end, Boston holds on. They win 6-5. They go to 44-8-5. They have 93 points. And I guarantee there'll be Bruins fans in here whining about Swayman because They only have 93 points. They've only won 44 games and they've lost 13 combined. So, sure, why not? And for Seattle, this is kind of sad. They go to 32, 20, and 6 as the final reverse retro night in the National Hockey League. And they're the only team in the league that didn't win a single game wearing the reverse retros. It's a shame because they're nice reverse retros. Shots in this one, 15-10 Seattle in the first, 12-10 Boston in the second, 16-11 Seattle in the third. They outshoot Boston 41-33. Power plays Boston 0 for 1, Seattle 1 for 4. Hits 18-17 Boston. Swayman saves 36 out of 41. Grubauer saves 27 out of 33. So, entertaining game. Boston wins. Now they're coming to Vancouver on Saturday. No, I am not going to that game. All right, last game on the board, on both boards, and we're looking at Nashville and against San Jose. I guess this means it'll be Ullmark against the Canucks. Cool. So, Saros versus Reimer in this one. Preds get an early power play, and they score on it. At 6:24, it's Niederreiter from Granlund and Duchesne. That was the second shot on net for Nashville, and San Jose had none. So this was a game that had very few scoring opportunities in the first period. Shots are 4-0 Preds at 7 minutes, so they got a couple of shots after. Power play for the Sharks. Couture has a net feed that's cleared. That's killed off, just the one shot. Gregor to Sturm, that's picked off. McDonough and Sherwood with a collision, and it looked awkward for McDonough. Considering the injury problems Nashville's been having lately, you don't want to lose McDonough. Parsonen unable to bury one. Parsonen would get hurt as well in a play when we get into the second period here. So second period, Nashville up 1-0 until it becomes 2-0. Granlund from Tomasino at 1:28. Shots are 2 apiece at 4 minutes. Preds shot blocking. Bonino has a shot that's held. We get some pushing there. Sturm's given a 5-minute penalty and it's reviewed, and it was a 5-minute for a hit on Parsonen. It didn't look like a 5-minute. You can argue a 2. Now, when the referees review it, they can drop it to a 2 or they can drop it to nothing. And I believe they talked this over with Toronto, and it's a joint decision on this, and they made it nothing, which didn't make Nashville announcers happy, and they had to go check the rule book. Yes, when it's a 5-minute power play, the referee has the option of making it 2 or making it nothing. It's the same as a double minor for high sticking. He can make it a 2. He can also rescind it completely if it turns out it's friendly fire. So, the Preds would then get a power play shortly thereafter, but San Jose scores shorthanded. It's Sturm from Lawrence at 8:37. He wires that one on a rush. So Sturm, who when he was given the 5-minute penalty, it was later rescinded. He didn't look happy in the box. Clearly he wasn't, because he makes it a 2-1 score. Then there's a crossbar for Karlsson out of the box after they'd finished the kill. But Granlund would get the 2-goal lead back from Tomasino and Glass at 13:34. He buries that one on a rush. It was a 3-on-2. 1:55 left. The Sharks get a power play. This time Nashville gets the shorthanded goal. It's Trennan from Smith at 19:31. It's 4-1 Nashville after 2 periods. Third period, 50 seconds in, on a turnover. Kaut wires one on a rush. Hurdle and Asimont with the assist. So there's Asimont on the board again. Makes it 4-2. We get a power play for the Sharks. Benning has a shot that's blocked. They cycled. That is killed off. Shots are 3-1 for the Sharks at 8 minutes. The Sharks go back to the power play. A lot of momentum for San Jose at this point in the game, but a pretty aggressive penalty kill by the Preds. Then there's a shorthanded break for Granlund. He's denied there on what would have been the hat-trick goal. And then Niederreiter at 10:48. Wasn't even trying to shoot on the net, but it went in off Reimer anyways. He was trying to pass it. Duchesne and Novak with the assists. And so that makes it 5-2 in favor of Nashville. We then get a power play for Nashville, and they score on it. It's Novak from Duchesne and Yossi at 14 minutes. So for Duchesne, that's 3 assists in the game. That was a one-timer and close. Not much chance for Reimer, but Reimer looked shaky all night. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Then with 47.8 seconds left, the Sharks get a power play. That just runs out the clock. Your final score is 6-2. Nashville 28, 22, and 6. So they stay in the hunt. Considering some of the teams in front of them, there's a reason to stay in the hunt. For San Jose, they're not in the hunt. They're 18, 30, and 11. Shots in this one, 8-4 Nashville in the first, 14-11 Nashville in the second, 9 apiece in the third. Final shots, 31-24 for the Preds. Power plays, Nashville 2 for 3, San Jose 0 for 5. Hits in this one, 19-17 for San Jose. Saros saves 22 out of 24. Reimer saves 25 out of 31. So there you go. You guys are all caught up on the 10 games from tonight. Tomorrow we have 6 games, so that's pretty busy for a Friday, meaning that Saturday we have 11, which is not that busy for a Saturday. So I'm kind of excited about a Saturday where, yeah, it's hockey all day, but it's not nearly as busy as it was last weekend. And yeah, so again, kudos to the Detroit Red Wings, currently above the playoff line. That's fun to see. And Buffalo wins a big game as well. So let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.